Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I am so excited for this video. I have had a couple products from Sydney Grace that I have not tried yet. I just picked these up during their last sale and I've already got smudges and fingerprints on these. I've obviously been swatching, but anyway, I haven't tried this palette yet. This is their new Love's Journey palette, which is a gorgeous. I mean, obviously I haven't tried it on my eyes, but it looks so beautiful. Neutral palette. It has 15 shades, 6 of which are shimmers and 9 mattes, and it looks so good. So anyway, I'll be trying that out today. I'm gonna do a different eye look on each eye just so I can try out a different lid shades that I just can't decide what to do. So I'll do 2 different looks. And then I also have the Luminous light palette. So this keeps going in and out of stock and it has really good reviews. People seem to really enjoy it. I have tried this a little bit, but I'm gonna try it some more with you today. And again, with this one, I think I'm gonna do different blushes on each cheek so you can see what they look like. I'm gonna look real crazy. Having different sides of my face look totally different. Maybe let's start with the Luminous light palette. Before I proceed, today's tea of the day is by Mudan from Tea Viver. It's a very classic white tea. White tea is the least processed of all the teas, so it just looks like basically picked and then dried tea. It has a very mild, sweetish flavor. I don't mean Swedish like the country sweet, I meant sweet-ish, like sort of sweet. Speaking of Swedish, I did Ancestry DNA, and while I got a lot of results in my results, like I'm from many different European countries, which I already knew that, but it was cool to see it in my DNA. But anyway, the first country, like the most percentage that I have is Swedish. When I mentioned to my parents, they were like, duh, you won great grandmother rose from Sweden. I'm like, well, I actually didn't know that. So anyway, really cool to see. Okay, so let's begin with the Luminous light palette. Let me quick give you some swatches. Okay, so here's the highlighter. To me, it's definitely a very light pink, not just like a plain champagne. I feel like it's got a little bit of a pink tint to it. Very pretty. Then we've got a glowy blush, a matte bronzer, and then a matte blush. This bronzer, I'm a little iffy about that one. It has a lot of pigment to it, and when you put your brush in, it picks up a lot of product and it's a little warm for me. So I'm gonna try really hard to go in light-handedly with the bronzer. We'll do that first. The formula is pretty powdery. You'll get a lot of kick up in it when you just tap your brush in there. Now I'm actually gonna tap off the excess on the back of my hand just because I really don't wanna go too crazy. I'm gonna have to wash my face after this anyway, just because I'm gonna look nuts with different eye looks, but I'm gonna try and do this like I normally would with the bronzer. Yeah, that's better. The first time I tried this, it was just, woo, very intense. Yeah, if I keep it light-handed, I can pull it off. Oops, I accidentally got more on that side than this side, so I'm gonna try and balance that. I've been trying to use up some moisturizer samples, and I have been breaking out like crazy. I really like testing skincare, but usually that's the thing that holds me back. Is there's something that makes my skin go nuts, and then it takes forever for it to heal up again. I just get so excited, you know, my skin's in a good place. I'm like, yes, I would like to try something new, and then fail. There, I don't think that is too much. But you guys know I don't like to be too bronzy. It's just very unnatural on me. There, I'm very pleased with that. Okay, let's try the brighter glowy blush on this side. I'm using the e.l.f. blush brush, which actually picks up a lot of product. So I'm gonna try and be careful not to get too much. Yeah, it picked up a lot. It's a very pretty color. Lots of pigment. Ooh, I realized I didn't take this off the mirror yet. Let's do it together. Ah, yeah, I definitely got too much despite my trying not to pick up too much, but let's just keep blending it. I like it because while it does have a little bit of a glow to it, there's no big giant sparkles, and it is, I think, like the very pretty kind of glow. It's not too glowy. So if you did want to use a lot of this color, you wouldn't end up with like a ridiculously glowy cheek. Just a bright cheek. Okay, I'm gonna wipe off my brush, and on the other side, I'm gonna try the other blush. I'm actually really excited about this blush color. I think it's very pretty. Yeah, very powdery. You see all the kick up there just from like tapping my brush in there. It's not a bad or a good thing. It's just, you know, some people want to know that, if it is or not. My skin is in such bad condition. I mean, I'm trying not to get too close to the camera because honestly, I don't want you guys to see how bad my skin texture is right now, but it's just making me like just look at the powders on my face, just like, oh, powders, they're just not laying as nicely as usual. But this is such a pretty color. Very everyday wearable. You know, this one's definitely more of a statement cheek. This one's more everyday, and I can definitely add more of that to amp it up a little bit. All right, let's try this highlighter, which I admit I have tried it already and I think it's gorgeous. So previously I used a fan brush. I just want to use like a regular highlighter brush this time. I'm just gonna like barely tap it in there. Oh yeah, I really, really enjoy Sydney Grace's highlighter formula. So beautiful. And I really like to go over it with my lightly dampened sponge to mesh everything together and to really meld those powders onto my skin. Might as well go over my forehead too, where I put the bronzer. My thoughts with this palette is that it's very pretty. I don't know how often I will reach for the bronzer. I prefer to use bronzers that I don't have to be quite so careful with. But if I am careful, I can pull it off. And I think my favorite thing is the highlighter. It's so pretty, but the blushes are beautiful. I just kind of want to experiment with the blushes to see which brushes I have that I would prefer those with. I feel like the e.l.f. one just picked up a lot of product, but I think it's very beautiful, very easy to wear. Yay! So now let's move on to this eyeshadow palette. Starting in the first row, we have the shade Kisses. So beautiful. Everlasting Love, Lovesick, Unforgettable, and Mad Love. I must say, swatching these, the shimmers are all, as always, exceptional, but I feel like the mattes in this palette are even better than usual. The mattes are always great and smooth, but I feel like they're just extra smooth in this palette. They're so nice. I didn't really get a good swatch of this shade. Moving on to the second row, here is Wistful, In My Heart. Oh, that shade feels glorious. Like that one just feels extra smooth. That is a great like lid contouring shade. Dinner Date. What even is that color? Like, is it kind of like a light antique-y gold? Or does it have more green to it? Like that's, I think I want to use that shade today. That's gorgeous. Steadfast Love, My Everything. Now with these deeper shades, I'm truly trying hard not to pick up too much product, just because they can be so intense, but that's why they're swatching lightly. I'm barely swirling my finger in them. Last row, Captivating. Okay, that shade is so unique. It's got some like lavender to it. That's cool. Dreamboat, Only You. That's a very, very rich shade. Us, and Fools in Love. Wow. Oh, I'm gonna have a hard time with choosing which shades, even though I'm doing two completely different eye looks. There's just so many shades I want to use. My dog is barking at the UPS man. 1 second. All right, deciding what to do. I feel like the first row is probably the colors I would lean toward the most often. I just really like these types of lid shades on myself, but I feel like I really want to test out this row and this row, so that's what I'm gonna do. It may not necessarily be the colors that will go best, the blushes that I'm wearing, but you know, we're just trying things out. It's okay. So for my first eye, I'm gonna start with this shade called In My Heart. Oh, and I did not peel off the plastic in this one yet either. Let's do it together. Here we go. All right, and I'm just gonna throw that through my crease. Yeah, oh, it's such a great shade. If you're wondering what brush I'm using for like this main blending, I'm just using the e.l.f. Crease Brush. Woo! Very lovely. So now let's deepen up the crease a little bit with the shade Steadfast Love. And I'm gonna really try and get that more in my crease, a little bit more, pushing it right into my eye socket. Contour the eye. And then just blending. I'm gonna dip back into In My Heart just to blend that out a little bit more. Now on my outer corner, I'm gonna dip into the deepest shade in that row called My Everything. I'm gonna try to just very carefully place that, just patting it right on the outer edge. Oh, perfect. It could not be easier. Perfect. Now normally I go in with my finger with these, but I'm gonna try using this brush on the shade Dinner Date, just to try and give myself a little more control. I feel like sometimes I go a little overboard when I use my finger. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't even know how to like describe that shade. It's not, doesn't have enough green in it, but it's not to be like a khaki green, but it's also not super gold. It's something in between, and I really like it. Wiping that brush off, I'm gonna use the same brush, and I'm gonna go into this shade Wistful and put that on the inner lid. and inner corner. Yeah, that's nice and bright. Pretty. Oh, I love it. I'm going to take this pencil brush and go into Steadfast Love and put that on my lower lash line. I always get this weird little gap right here if I don't like deliberately place it right there. I'm not going to use eyeliner since I know I'm going to have to wash this off. I don't want to go in too much with a lot of hard to get off products. For that same reason, I'm going to use my Thrive Causemetics mascara because it washes off so easily. So let's try not to ruin my eye makeup by doing my typical thing by getting mascara all over my lid. I would try hard not to. I love it. Absolutely love it. The shadows are so easy to work with, just great. So now I'm gonna go into the really cool toned row on the bottom. I'm gonna start with the lightest gray shade called Dreamboat and work that through the crease. Ooh, that is a great kind of lavendery gray. It's not too gray. It's gonna go so nicely with that lid shade. I am in love with this gray. Now I feel like if I used all the shades on the bottom row, this eye would get really smoky, which is not my goal today. So I'm not gonna put another shade in the crease to deepen it up. I think I'm just gonna keep up with this same shade and just build it up a little bit for depth. And then I'll put a deeper shade on my outer corner. Oh, I just love that shade. Okay, I'm gonna deep into Us and put that on my outer corner. I'm gonna do the same thing where I'm just gonna try and pat it in place so I don't have to blend that. Oh my goodness, perfect. That is one thing I absolutely love about this formula. Oh, yes, yes. So often when I try to put something deeper on my outer corner, I don't know if it's because of my eye shape or whatever, but I tend to really struggle getting it blended well. And if I can just pat it on and leave it, it's literally the best scenario. Okay, I'm gonna go into this shade Captivating. I cannot wait to try this on my eye. Oh, as I expected. A beautiful cool tone, but it's got like enough lavender in it so that it's not too icy. It's not too cool tone, even though it's definitely cool. I'm gonna dip into Wistful again for my inner corner. And then for my lower lash line, Us might be a little deep. So I think I'm just gonna use Dreamboat, you know, trying not to get too smoky here. And then I am gonna use just a little bit of Us right on the very outer corner of my bottom lid. Did I say bottom lid? The bottom lash line, and smudging that to match up with the top. All right, time for mascara. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. I'm tempted to go wash it off and then do another eye look with the top row, but I'm trying to be kind to my eyes, so I'm not gonna do that. But I just love how each eye turned out. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. The shades are interesting but still wearable. I think this might become my favorite Sydney Grace palette. Like, it's well on its way already. I think it's stunning. And the packaging, I gotta be honest, it's even prettier in person. A lot of Sydney Grace products are like that. They look pretty online, but you get them and they're even prettier. Like with this really beautiful gold detailing across the front and the flowers too. This looks so much prettier in person. Well done to Sydney Grace. This is going to be a crowd pleaser for sure. What do you guys think of the shades? Have you tried the palette? If so, I want to know which shades you like to pair together. What's your favorite combos? Same with the face palette. Are you guys enjoying it? I think that I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. They're all colors I will use. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate your support on my channel. I will see you again very soon in my next video. Bye guys.